Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Albuquerque Aliens Draft Order franchise mode here in NHL 25. So in last episode, we took on the Anaheim Ducks in the first round of the playoffs, and unfortunately, we could not find a way to beat them, so they went on and found a way to win the Stanley Cup. So at least we lost to the best team in the entire league, which is a good thing, that at least it was the best team, not the worst team. But we do have some tough decisions to make again this offseason. Now, what kind of sucked is Ristolainen decided not to retire in the offseason, so we do still have him under contract going into next season. Now, he is still a good player, but I do expect him to drop off drastically throughout the season next year. And also, we do have more guys that are pending free agents, like, for instance, Comrie. He's the big one. I don't know if we'll be able to afford to bring him back, which might be okay because we might end up running like Cashman as the top line center, Kopitz as like a second line center, and then Ristolainen might be down to the third line. But I think obviously a lot of the age on this team is starting to catch up to it now. I'm hoping we could kind of maintain this roster as much as possible. Like guys like Kolarz is also pending UFA, so hopefully we could hold on to him, because obviously I don't really want him to retire on another team because I think it's just not doing enough for him considering he's been here for so long. But the team should be still kind of decent next season, but I do expect more guys to drop out throughout the year. Like Bell, for instance, is down to an 86. I think he could be down to like an 83 overall by the end of the season next year. So I do expect there to be a little bit of drop off on the defensive core, and then even maybe a net too, because Gionta is only an 86 now at 33, so maybe he drops off a little bit. So it's a little bit worrisome, but at the same time, at least we do have a lot of the younger guys like Dunham locked up, so at least we won't have to worry about re-signing them before the series ends. But anyways, before we get into another offseason, including a draft and all that stuff, let's get into your guys' comments, see what you guys have to say about last episode, and then we'll get into all that offseason stuff. And hopefully, like I said, we can maintain this roster, so at least we can see if this team is good enough to make it back to the postseason again next year. So the first two comments are from Garage TV. The first one says, for some line suggestions, Kolarz, Cashman, Dunham, McLeod, Comrie, Cogliano, Delisle, Risto, Robertson, Doughty, Kopitz, and Reefers. And then he said swap McLeod and Kolarz. And then his other comment says, prediction is that the Aliens will lose this round 4-1. Definitely think you held your team back by not making any line moves that worked. And we tried our best with the lineups to try and get stuff to work a bit, but it just could not find that chemistry. And that chemistry kind of maybe hurt us a little bit, unfortunately. So hopefully next year we could get at least a little bit better of a lineup in a sense, because we have still the same team pretty much on paper. Hopefully we can find a way to kind of get everybody to work a little bit better. The next comment is from Nick Bacabarons OC, who says rough first round exit. And yeah, it was a tough first round exit for sure for this team. Like, I don't know if I could go back on the calendar to our first round exit. I feel like I might be able to. Let's see. Can I go back to that? Yes, I can. So you could definitely see it was a tough first round exit for our team because we went to all 7 games. Now, the first game of the series we won 2-1, and it was kind of bouncing back and forth between win and loss. We eventually went up 3-1, so at that point it was like, okay, I think this team's going to be able to find itself and get to the next round, but we weren't really scoring a lot of goals in those wins. Now, we do end up losing 5-2 in the next game, 3-2 in that next game, so close to winning that game, but not enough. And then unfortunately in Game 7, we don't score more than 2 goals. So our offense just really dried up completely, especially in that round. And it's unfortunate because I thought that this team might have had a chance to have a better run this year in the postseason than it did in the past. In the last and final comment is from Samurai Taku, says more EA Sim engine nonsense. I almost wish Risto would have retired, but either way, he nor Kolarz could be in the top 6 next season. Comrie's not worth that time but money, so you could run Cashman and Kopitz as a 1-2. Maybe you'll pull an Anchorage and win a cup in your final season. Now, that could be a thing. Maybe we end up finding a way to win a Stanley Cup in our final season like we did with my Anchorage series a couple of years ago. But I'm honestly not too sure. I feel like this team's a little bit different than that Anchorage team because I feel like we're severely lacking that elite talent that we did back when we were a very good team. Obviously, there's still guys like Dunham and Hunwick who are really good and all that, but yeah, like I said, Bell's on the drop off. Cashman's already 33 years old as well. Like, a lot of these guys are quite past their prime now. At least we have a young defensive core that's pretty good, and guys like Robertson who are decent, but I still feel like our defensive core and stuff like that, and a lot of the other guys on this team are getting a little bit to the state where they might start dropping off a bit too quick, especially all these guys that are in their 30s, so I do think it's a bit different than what my Anchorage series was like near the end, but this team does still have the goaltending at least and the defensive play that we could still be good. So just got to hope that we have a little bit of a different simulation next season. than we did this season. But with that said, I think we're pretty much ready to get into the draft. Obviously, I think what we're going to do at the re-sign stage is let go of Comrie, just like Senator Talk was mentioning. I think it makes sense for us to probably just run Risto as like our third-line center because he's a good defensively minded guy. And then we probably run Kopitz as a top six center because Kopitz was really good as a fourth-line center last year. So I'm expecting Kopitz, if he's good on the top six, then he might be able to help us win a lot of games. So anyways, let's hop into the draft, see what gets snag up here. I don't really care too much about these draft classes at this stage. We will still make every one of our selections, but I don't expect any of these players to really play for this team before the series ends. So anyways, let's take a look at this year's top five. So Montreal with the first overall selection is going to take Gannon, who is an 81 overall medium elite sniper, left winger. Skylar Gannon. This is like the first time I'm really looking at this draft class too, so I don't really know what to expect from our selections. So anyways, there's the first overall pick going to Montreal. New Jersey at number 2 is going to select Krstanovich, who is a medium elite two-way forward, only a 77, so this could be a weaker draft class like I was anticipating to be. Cyrus Krstanovich, interesting name. So there is all his stats, pretty balanced. Vancouver at number 3 is going to select Kasivi, who's a right wing, left wing, or not right wing, left wing. He might be a right wing, left wing. No, he's just a right wing. Right wing playmaker, looking pretty decent as well, but he is a little bit lower end. So yeah, I feel like this just is probably going to be one of those classes that we just don't find anything too crazy in. Bates going to Tampa Bay. There you go, and Aiden Bates. All right. And the last player in the top 5 is the Nashville Predators. They select Laxon in 80 overall. So there's a pretty good steal for the Preds at number 5. He's listed as a third-line checking forward, left wing, right wing. And there you go. But yeah, he technically should have probably went like second overall, but Krstanovich did. So kind of interesting that the Preds get that at that spot. Let's simulate to our pick at 27. And we will probably call a timeout just because we might as well see what's going on around this point. But before our selection, a medium top 9 just went. So that's interesting. Then there's medium 6s, couple more medium 6s. Pretty standard draft class. Nothing too crazy about it. But when there's a high top 9 literally going 16th overall, you know this is probably one of the weaker classes. So really don't expect us to get anything, like I said, that will make the series before it ends. So this is almost a pointless draft, but at the same time, we'll just kind of go through it a little bit quicker. So maybe we take a chance on Lop just because he could be elite. It's tough to tell, but maybe he's the best option. Jonathan Ronaldo. Looks like a pretty good shooter, but that's pretty much it. Did I pin anybody? There's LaBarbera who I pinned. Bob LaBarbera. Probably, I think he's 2 years out though, so he's probably a good overall for a top 6 forward. So maybe Bob LaBarbera is the guy then. But there is also a gem in Kovanov, but he's 3 years out, so to me that's not as intriguing. There's also Pau, who could be medium elite, but there's no guarantees on it. He could end up being a low elite, but I'm not too sure. At this point, I honestly don't really care too much about if I make the right call, so I don't think I'm going to go for Lop just because he's probably a normal top 6 based on that. Might be a medium 9. LaBarbera is probably the most intriguing to me. It's either him or I go for, ooh, yeah, there is Conan too. Supposed to go, we might be able to get him next round though. He's maybe going to go right before spot next round, but Conan is kind of intriguing because he's just a low elite. You know, I think I might already just take Conan because considering we're going to be letting go of Comrie, we might need more center prospects, and Brian Conan could be that guy. So, yeah, let's just go with Conan. Even though it's a little bit off the board, I might as well just take the low elite here. I don't know if I'd be able to get him next round, so I might as well take him. And that way we have a replacement for Comrie technically once the series ends. So, Conan, welcome aboard. 63 overall. See, that's pretty good, I think, for that point. He's like literally almost the same overall as the medium 9 that went before him. And he looks like this, which is pretty decent. Maybe there's a chance this guy could make it before the series ends. But it depends if he jumps up to like a 78 after 1 year or something like that. So I do not mind that selection. We'll see if he ends up making it, but I don't know if he will. All right, let's simulate to 60th overall here. I don't know if I really care too much about taking a look at the other team's picks here for this draft just because it's a weaker end draft class. Still looks pretty basic. A lot of medium top 6s. Yeah. Wow, 75 overall medium top 6 in Macaulay. That's actually pretty damn good overall. That would have been one that actually could have made our team before the series ends, but I didn't see him. Interesting. Okay, let's make our next selection here because, yeah, like I said, this draft class doesn't matter too much. We might as well take the goalie because I'm probably guessing he's definitely a medium elite based on the 3 bars. Also, a lot of elite goalies go second round, so even though he's 5 years out, we might as well take him. That way, this team technically has the next goaltender in line after all these other elite goaltenders. So there he is. Fabian Owens was the name? Yeah, Fabian Owens. Interesting name. Like, we do have, an elite goaltender probably being our backup next season. We'd also have another one in the AHL, but we might as well draft another one just to stock up the amount of goalies that are in this team's prospect pool. All right, let's simulate to our next pick at 93. See what else we could get up here. But like I said, this draft class really doesn't matter too much. There is a gem low 4 Infinity, but I don't know if he's that great. There's also Marshall Odell, who could be a low lead. And then there's also Kamachi, who's a left wing, right wing. And looks pretty good, actually. Look, he looks like he's like a 65 at least. So I'm going to take a chance on Emilio Kamachi, that he's a 65 overall medium elite, something like that. Or not medium elite, low elite. Because the fact that he could also play both wings is also kind of nice. So let's go with Kamachi here from Kelowna. Boom. Low top 6. Damn, that's lower than expected. But is a solid starting overall. So I don't know if this guy would make it at any point. But at least gives a chance to him because the fact that he's got a good starting point. And he's also got decent attributes. So do not mind that selection, even though I was hoping he'd actually be a low elite. All right, next selection. Let's see what else we got here. Anybody I have pinned? There is DeLuca, who's probably going to be our 7th round selection here. But this selection, let's see. I don't know who I want to take. I don't want to sort by player type. God damn it. What else do I want to take here? Low top 6 offensive defenseman's not very good. 5 years out. We might as well take a chance on Percy, considering he could be a low lead. So let's just go for Jackson Percy here with the selection. Low top 60 as well. Not great. Yeah, this is not really a good class, but it's okay. It's okay, because we don't need those prospects at this point. Low top 9 in Neal. Jalen Neal. Anything else intriguing at this spot? Medium 9. I mean, a medium 9 is better than a low 9, but he is 20 years old, this guy. Hudson Krogh. What a name, 4 years out. What about the goaltender? Do I want another goalie prospects? Probably not. Low 7th D. Yikes. How is there low 7th D supposed to go at this point in the draft? Yeah, this is probably going to be one of the worst classes we've seen. Now, this Vasilyev guy could be intriguing. He could also be a low 6, though. Ooh. All right. All right. I was not expecting those type of attributes. He's only 2 years out, apparently. He's only 2 years out. This could end up being a really big steal here if he's actually that good. So I think we got to go for Vasilyev here. So welcome aboard to the overager who could be a low elite. Wow. 71 overall low elite. Okay, this guy could make this series before it ends. That's actually a fantastic steal in the 5th round. I know he's a year older, but damn. When I saw those attributes and saw that he was 2 years out, I had to take him. Now, his offensive awareness is absolutely dreadful. But he does have already good passing. He's already got some solid shooting. Like, he hypothetically should become a pretty good offensive player. But that is a massive steal for that point in this draft class. Absolutely massive. So, we'll see. That guy could end up making the 4th line maybe in the last year of this franchise mode or something like that. Maybe he plays in the AHL next season already. I don't mind that. I do not mind that selection whatsoever. Alright, was not expecting that considering we didn't have him scouted fully. Hugh Salius we just missed out on. That's a decent low elite, but obviously not as good overall wise as the 19-year-old we just drafted. We have 2 more picks, so we might as well go for Torsten Pedersen, who could be also a low elite, and then we'll take the other guy with the next pick. So Pedersen, welcome aboard. Low top 9. Not great. And our last pick of the draft, is that other low elite still there, or did I just miss out on him? Like, should I have taken him last round? Let's take a look here. Do I have... Oh, he is gone. Damn. He is gone. But that's okay. At least we got the other guy. Who do I want to go for here? Maybe DeKaiser? But he is 19 years old. Let's take a look at potential. Joshua Lupul. I'm not too sure on Joshua Lupul. There's not really anything else that's intriguing, here. Yeah, you know what? Let's just go for Joshua Lupul, considering he's 18, see if he's actually low lead as well. Boom. Medium bomb 6. It's okay. At least the 5th round was a nice steal. That was a nice steal indeed. Like, how the hell does this guy 71? I get it it's because he's a little bit older, but damn. I thought he would have gone earlier in the draft just because of that. But 5th round? Like, yeah, I think he's definitely going to play on our AHL roster next season. So, with that said, the draft is complete. I would say it's an okay draft for us. Obviously, not some good picks, but Conan's going to be intriguing. Owens is just another goalie prospect. Komachi as a low 6 could become something. And then Vasilyev's is probably the best steal that we had of this draft class. So, not too bad. Could have been better for sure, but I'll definitely take it at this stage in the franchise. All right, now we got to get to the re-sign stage, and I hope that we have the money to basically spend in getting everybody back. So hopefully we aren't strapped for cap a little bit, because obviously the fact that we're paying still $6 million to Ristolainen kind of sucks a bit. Like, I kind of wish I would have given him maybe a 1-year deal and then re-signed him again this offseason, but it is what it is. We should have some more cap space, though, than last year, I think. At least I'm hoping for it. Letting go of Comrie will definitely help things a bit, too. It does suck to let go of Comrie, because Comrie was pretty good this season, but at the same time, I think literally Kopitz could be a good little bargain deal for our top 6 this season, so I think he's going to do really good with more ice time. And then obviously, like I said, Risto is going to be 3rd-line center. There's a chance that Risto probably still gets power play time and penalty kill time, but obviously his numbers are probably going to start dwindling, so I don't expect him to get a crazy amount of ice time, but he might. Like, he does still have really good face-off stats, so that's going to help us a bit, especially defensively on that 3rd line. All right, so re-sign stage. How much money do we got to spend? Please give me a lot of money. $29 million. Ooh, that's not good. Let's start by signing Vasilyev, who we just drafted, so he could get a chance to play in the AHL right away. Aside from that, Licht is a 68 as a high 9. Conan's 63. I don't think I need to sign any of those other guys. We'll probably just wait on some of them to develop more. RFAs, let's go to this and just qualify all of our RFAs here. Just because I don't really have the money to really just spend a shit ton on them. So we'll qualify all these guys, including Hansen and Carlotti, Johnston, all those dudes. Let's see. Hopefully we could have a pretty good team again next season here. Boom. McKinnon as well. Peluso. I almost forgot about some of these guys in the AHL, to be honest. Alright, so UFAs. We are going to let go of Holtby. He's not even yet at his ELC. Barry is a 59 at 20. He's not very good, so we'll let him go. Kurtz is a 63 medium bomb 6. It's not terrible, but we'll let him go. Peros is a low 6, 67 at 20. He's not bad, but he doesn't have that ceiling. Does have some solid shooting. Was a 2nd round pick, but I'm just going to let him walk because I don't really have the space for him, I don't think. Ferrario 68, low top 9 at 22 is not very good either. We'll let him walk. And then all of these guys are pretty much the NHL UFAs almost. We are going to sign Shodin to his ELC for the AHL. I am going to let go of Mathers, I think, also this offseason, just because we already have one of the elite goalie prospects. He's going to be ready to take that backup job for Mathers. So it'd probably be Andronov and Bergfors. Shodin's just going to be like a depth option in the AHL in case there's any injury problems. So yeah, I think we got to say goodbye to Mathers, unfortunately. Maybe at some point we bring him back again. He's only 30, so he could still play for a few more years. He was pretty good this season, don't get me wrong. He has also been good in the playoffs in the last 2 years, but I just don't think there's a way we could hold on to him, especially with the elite goalie ready to take his spot. So, Reed Mathers, salute to you. Best of luck. Hopefully you sign somewhere and maybe you go win on a Stanley Cup, because I don't think you were with our Cup winning team, were you? No, you weren't. So, hopefully if we don't win a Stanley Cup, hopefully you will find a way to win a Stanley Cup. So, Mathers is gone. Aside from that, Young should be maybe a 2-way contract still. Yeah, he's still a 2-way, so we'll bring him back easily. Corrado is definitely a 2-way contract, pretty close to being a depth forward. Let's just sign him up as well. Seagal, if he wants a 2-way, that'd be good. Yep, he wants a 2-way as well. We'll bring him back. Might as well just keep on to a lot of the depth as much as possible, right? Kolarz is the big one to bring back that I want to bring back this offseason. He wants 5.4 million. We're just going to give him what he's asking for at this point because I don't want him to leave this team. Enroth, do I want Enroth back? Two-way contract's not bad. Can I go 1 year and then just up this? Let's see. Yeah, I should be able to up this to like that max two-way contract. Stillman probably wants a one-way. Hypothetically, yeah, he does. That's an interesting one. I mean, he could jump into the lineup now that Comrie's leaving, and he could be our fourth-line center, potentially. He was good in the AHL last year. He doesn't have great face-off stats, though, as a center. That's the one problem. He is a grinder, and we already have a couple grinders on the team with, like, who was it? With Cogliano as a grinder. We have Robertson, who's a grinder. So I don't feel like having a third grinder makes a lot of sense. So we are going to say goodbye to Stillman as well. I could bring him back just to have that depth option, but I feel like 3 grinders is too much almost. So let's just say goodbye to Bryant Stillman. Didn't get much of a chance here. 99 games with us, 18 points. It's not too bad. And in the playoffs, he did play some games as well. Wasn't on our cup-winning roster. But I think it just makes sense to let him go at this point. So best of luck to him. Hopefully he finds a way to win a Stanley Cup if we don't either. Alright, so I think we'll advance a day and see if we get all those guys back. Obviously the RFAs, we could probably go through their contracts a bit too, but likely Comrie's still going to be on the outs from this team. Just because he's going to demand probably too much money at this point in time in his career. He just had a career high in points, so I expect him to ask for a lot. Kolarz decides to come back on that contract, which is good. So he should still retire with the club. Aside from that, let's just go through this list here of AHLers, get the ones on the two-way contracts back, because might as well get them back quite easily. And that way we get a kind of a better idea of how much cap space we got. But the AHL team should be pretty good next season again. So I know they made the playoffs this season, but they were out in the first round again too. So they haven't had the success in the postseason, but I'm expecting them to get it at some point. Krejcik, you want two-way as well? Yeah, you do. Okay, good. So a couple of the guys that could be in our bottom 6 next season want two-way contracts, which is nice. Johnston wants a one-way deal at 1.5. I guess we probably have to give him it at this point. And maybe I'll leave him qualified. Carlotti's probably going to want a one-way as well. 2.9, yeah. The rest of these guys have to just probably stay qualified for the time being. And then goalies were good. So what is Comrie actually wanting out of curiosity, though? $11 million. Yeah, there's no way I could justify $11.475 million to Caden Comrie. At least we have all these guys that should be able to start developing better, because this Comrie's a little bit of an older guy too on the team. So yeah, we're just not going to be able to pay Comrie that type of money. So let's say goodbye to Comrie. Solid player here. Like I said, he came off almost a career high in points. He's been good the last 3 years, but he's just not going to find a way to get more ice time really with this team, and also he's going to be too expensive. I feel like we already prioritized Cashman a couple years ago. If we didn't prioritize Cashman then, maybe I would have prioritized Comrie now instead, but I think he has to unfortunately walk from his team. So best of luck to Comrie in free agency. Hopefully he finds a way maybe to win a cup if we don't either. So there is that. All these RFAs should be enough to make us cap compliant. Because $25 million in cap space to get all these guys back, I think should be easy enough. Cogliano and Robertson are going to definitely be the most expensive. Reefers is going into his last year of RFA status, I think. Yeah, he is. That kind of sucks, because we could end up losing him next offseason. Doughty's got probably another 2 years left. Hansen's got 1 year left, I think. Yeah. So during the last 2 seasons, we're probably going to have to re-sign a lot of these guys as UFAs, but we might as well take as much time as possible with their RFA status. Now, Cogliano is a pending UFA in 2 years only, which is kind of weird. So maybe we already want to give him multiple years, so that way he's signed here right till the end. Because 2 years right now, I think takes till almost the last year of the franchise mode. If we go 3 years, his contract ask jumps up to $5 million. He has no interest whatsoever in a 3-year deal. So I think I'll keep him qualified for now, but we might have to pay him some big money near the end, which we should be able to have that cap space by the end of it, because hopefully by then we have retirements to guys like Ristolainen and all that. So we should be fine at that stage. But yeah, definitely We're going to need some more money next offseason when Kopitz is up, Delisle is up, Hutton is up. But right now, at least this team should be pretty good. So let's get to free agency, see if there's any former players in free agency as well. I'm not too sure if I'll bring back any former players just because of the cap space, but let's see what RFAs end up accepting before free agency starts. Probably most of them will accept, my guess. Newberry's on board, not a surprise because it's a two-way contract. A couple scouts are accepting. Let's see what else we get. Okay, it was only that one RFA that accepted, so we have to wait on the other guys for a little bit longer, which kind of sucks. So all these guys are going to be RFAs to start the RFA portion. I'd assume a good chunk of them will accept. I'm expecting guys like Cogliano and Robertson probably not to accept until we actually give them another offer. Reefers and below probably should accept their qualifying offer, I'm assuming, but I honestly have no idea. So let's just take a look if there's any former players. Do we need any coaches? I feel like we did need coaches, if I remember right. Let's actually take a look at that first and foremost. Let's see. So yeah, we do need more coaches. We did lose our associate coach, and we also lost our goalie coach. We could definitely look for a few more of those. Now, Bielis, who's been our head coach, has he been actually that good with us? I don't even remember, to be honest. How do I look at his stats? There you go. Oh yeah, I can't even see his season record with us. I can only see his playoff record. His playoff record hasn't been ideal, but he is still a really good fit with this team for the most part. So let's go to hire coach anyways. Find ourselves an associate and a goalie coach. Let's just find anybody that works well with this team. Doesn't matter if they're a head coach or not. Malik 65, that's actually pretty good to start off with. There's another 65 too in Musial. Anybody else that's interesting? 65 in Chromis. Had to say it like that for no reason. Chromis is only 53. How old are the other 65 overall guys? Or 65 team percentage guys? Let's see. 53 as well. And 50. Damn, so Malik's probably the best because he's youngest, but I feel like he's going to get claimed by another team. I feel like a balanced coach might be better. But I don't know if there's any balanced coaches out there. Because a lot of these guys are offensively based. Let's see. 61%'s not bad. Physical coach in Christic. Yeah, I think I'll go for the lowest 65 here on the list. Just because I feel like the other ones might get taken. So let's go for Milan Chromis. And he will be our associate coach. And then we just need a goalie coach for this team as well. So, for goalie coaches, we'll just go through the entire coaching staff that's out there and go teaching grade. And we'll take this one, which is going to be Valkov Salak. He'll be our goalie coach. We also technically need an assistant coach for the AHL, I think, right? Yeah, we do. So let's go down to AHL head coach, see who's maybe a good fit for this AHL team. Yeah, let's sort by this. Boom. 22. Anybody high up in team fit? 25 is like the highest one I've seen. Yeah, 25 is the highest. So we'll go for, I guess. Let's go for. Let's take a look at the coaches we have in the AHL again for a second. We have a generalist and another generalist. So an offensive or defensive coach is fine. So it doesn't really matter which one we take, I guess, in that sense. So if I go back to AHL head coach, or can I just go all AHL coaches? I honestly don't even know. But let's just go through these guys again here. Let's see. Where's the 25? So there is Galvis. Works good with Gonchar, Burry, and Vanden right now. They're all pretty much the exact same. Let's just go for Karel Galvis. And he will be the... Which coach is it? Assistant. The AHL assistant coach. That way we have another coach down there in the minors. And aside from that, we should be pretty good with the coaches. Alright, let's take a look and see if there's any former players in free agency that we could bring back if we want to. We don't probably have really much cap space to do so. So I'm kind of lenient on probably not signing much people. But just want to take a look and see if there is anybody that we haven't remembered in a bit. Alright, so... in terms of goaltenders, anybody that used to play with us, there's obviously Mathers, who we just dropped. Aside from that, we don't really need goalies, so I don't even know if I'm going to really look into this too much. Yeah, there's not really any goalies anyways. For defenders, any former defensemen that used to play with us? Any former defenders that I recognize that I almost forgot about? Not really seen anybody, to be honest. Mangone? Wait, no, it's not the Mangone that used to play with us, because didn't we have a Mangone? Someone was with Anaheim. Damn, Anaheim might be in a cap situation, because I saw they lost one of their goalies, too. Huh. Alright. Yeah, I'm not seeing anybody. What about forwards? Any right wingers that used to play with this team? Any right wingers? I'm honestly not seeing a lot of former guys out there, so I feel like a lot of the guys that used to play with us got big contracts, and a lot of them are kind of already locked up, so it's kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. Alright, what about left wingers? Not seen anybody so far as well. Oh, there's Mark Degg. I mean, as a bottom six option, that might not be a bad idea. I'm just don't... he's a grinder as well. Actually, never mind. We don't need a third grinder. That's why I let go of Stillman. So I just don't think making Mark Degg another fourth line guy for us makes sense. Just because he's a grinder. If he was not a grinder, maybe it'd be okay. But we just have too many physical kind of guys in the bottom six. And I don't want to be kind of getting into penalty trouble. Like, that could be also a problem with this team, is maybe we're just too physical. And we end up being in the box way more than we should. And in terms of centers, obviously, will they just let go of Comrie? He's trying to get a lot of money. He has a team interested in him, which is kind of surprising. Wonder where he's going to end up. Stillman's there, obviously, who we just let go of. Anybody else, though? I'm really not seeing a lot of former players, which like definitely makes me feel like a lot of them are locked up. There is Alvin Ashton, who we let go of literally a season ago. He was playing last year in Iowa of the AHL. He's still an okay depth option, but he's not really much of anything. So he is cool, but I wouldn't bring him in for this team. So yeah, there's not really anybody whatsoever. All right. So we just need to find out if our RFA is accepted. I think that's all we need to do still, because we're not going to do any off-season focuses at this point. I think everything else is good. Yep, let's begin to advance to next season. So we got to see if those coaches accept first. And then all those RFAs, hopefully a lot of them accept here soon too, because that'd be nice. Salak's on board as the NHL goalie coach. Welcome aboard to Salak. What about the other coach? There he is, Hromis, on board as the associate coach. Nice. Which means now we're just waiting on the AHL one, which Galvis does not want to join the AHL team. So we still need to find an AHL assistant coach. So let's go back to the coaching staff that's available and find ourselves an AHL assistant. As I wouldn't mind having still almost a full coaching staff in the AHL, just so the AHL team can at least simulate decently. So let's go back to this again. Let's see, is there any other 25s that are still there? Or did all the 25s go? Nope. Galvis is still there, so let's just go for Galvis again. Try and give him a bit more money to actually accept. And he should be on board with the money like that. So we'll bring him in, and hopefully that helps out the AHL team a little bit more. Let's begin simming up to next season. Galvis decided to go to Iowa instead. Damn, that sucks. Iowa seems to like our former players apparently, and people that we want to bring in. Alright, so I guess we're going to find a different coach. I'm kind of surprised that he did not take my money, because I just offered him a max contract. That's kind of surprising. Alright, let's go back to those coaches again. Seems like the AHL is always a tough thing to get good coaches on. Let's see, 22. There's the other 25 in Tadachek. Well, I guess Tadachek's going to be that guy then. So we'll get him in as the assistant coach if he accepts. Maybe he's going to go to Iowa instead as well. But we'll see if he'll accept as the assistant coach. He's not the best coach in the world, but we might as well just take another one. So let's hope that those RFAs start accepting soon too. Tadachek does not like the role. Damn, I'm really surprised with these coaches, because we're literally offering them maybe a different job, but they're also getting paid pretty much more than a normal coach. So I'm actually really surprised that it's actually this tough for us to find one. So let's once again try and find ourselves a coach for the AHL. Okay, so maybe we actually have to find somebody listed as an associate or an assistant. So I guess we'll go through these, see if there's any 25%ers. There is some 25%ers. Anybody higher than the 25 though? Does not seem like it. Alright, so we'll go for probably the top 25, which is going to be Andre Novak. We'll try and get him for an assistant coach job, even though he wants to be an associate. Apparently the Montreal Canadiens are interested in him. So hopefully Montreal doesn't steal him from us, because this is getting a little bit tedious that these coaches don't want to come in. But let's continue to sim and see if he accepts, which he is on board. Nicely done. So Andre Novak is going to be joining the AHL coaching staff, which is good. Let's continue to sim here and see if our RFAs start accepting. Some of them should probably be accepting, right? Oh, man. Okay, Cogliano's been qualified to an offer by the Rangers. We would receive a second-round pick, but we're obviously going to match that deal. It's only $4 million for a year, so we're just going to match that, and we're going to stop the sim here so we can get everybody else back. But we would have actually got a second-round pick in compensation, but the second-round pick at this point is useless. So we're down to $21 million in cap space. Let's get these other guys signed up here. So Robertson's going to get $5 million. So yeah, him and Cogliano are definitely the most expensive RFAs. We're going to just give everybody else what they're asking for at this point, just because we might as well. But next offseason, obviously, we might have some tougher decisions to make. So Doughty on board, Hansen. This is why we let go of... Ooh, Hansen wants a 3-year deal. You're not getting a 3-year deal from me, though, buddy. You're not. We're going to talk you down a little bit. Boom. See if he'll accept that. Carl Lottie, what are you wanting? 1-year deal. Sure. $2 million is fine. We'll give that. Johnston, what about you? 1.22, that's fine. Yeah, so basically, if we would have brought back Comrie, we would be way even tighter for cap space, so it's just pointless at that point in time to actually bring it back to the team. Alright, so we should have every RFA pretty much signed up here. Now we can get to assimilating to next season and getting our lineup set up. I'm excited to see what this team's looking like. I think it should be still good, but I'm a little bit worried, obviously, about the drop-off of Risto, Kolars, Drew Bell, maybe even Gionta. But I think this team should be still solid enough to make it back to the postseason again. But I'm not too sure if we're better than a first-round exit or not. So let's take a look here and get our team set up. And then we'll obviously optimize the coaches and stuff too. So in terms of our goaltending, we got Gionta and Bachman. Bachman is still a backup goalie, but he's almost ready to take over Gionta's job as well. Now, Gionta probably will retire beforehand. Maybe not, but still. Ooh, I forgot that Gionta's only signed for 1 more year. Oh, man. I have to give Gionta an extension already, but Bachman could easily take Gionta's job. It's going to be like almost the same dilemma as I had a few years ago with Malkin. But I feel like I don't really care, to be honest, if we run 2 good goalies to run above this franchise mode. Like, we only have this season, we have next season, and I think maybe 1 more season after that. So we probably want to get Gionta locked up already. Technically, Andronov is very close as well, but I don't really care if we have 3-headed monster in terms of goaltenders. From a defensive standpoint, let's see. We got Hunwick, Hutton, Bell. McLeod's going to be playing forward. We have Petterman, Carl Lottie, Johnston. So technically we have 3-7. Yeah, that's good. We do need an 8th defenseman up here, which I'm guess is going to be Seagal, because Noel, I don't want him called up. We need to have a depth defender at least up here, because McLeod's going to be going back to offense. Right wing side of things, Dunham, Robertson, Rafers. Wall is a 78. That's not bad. Not bad at all. Left wingers, we got Delisle, Kolars, Doughty, and Dingle. But obviously, we're going to be playing one guy's a 4. Yeah, that's fine. Maybe Newbury could come up here too. Cogliano, Cashman, Kopitz, Risto. Yeah, that's good. Krejcik's an 82. Damn. I don't know if there's a way I can really get Krejcik in the lineup, though. The only way I get Krejcik in the lineup this season is technically, I guess, if I send Seagal down and we use McLeod as a defenseman. But I don't think I want to do that, because if we use McLeod as a defenseman, we might get some complaints on the defense core of ice time. Because we'd have to use Johnston as the depth defenseman if we did that. I'm trying to think. Yeah, because we have 5 top 4 defenders if we do that. So I think we are probably going to have to leave Krejcik in the AHL to start off the season, which might be okay. Alright, let's just get these lines set up and see what we're working with. Make it a little bit easier to tell what we actually have. So, from an offensive standpoint, Risto's down to the 3rd line. Kopitz is the 2nd line center. Cashman, Kolars, Dunham does not work. Kolars definitely has to be 3rd line, as we were mentioning. So, we'll probably move Kolars down with Risto again on that 3rd line. we will probably move Cogliano to that third line right wing spot with them. Cogliano's a second liner. Robertson is a second liner too. Maybe I could swap Delisle and Cogliano, but then that's two grinders next to each other, which isn't ideal, but it might be okay. Cogliano's a right-handed shot. Robertson is also a right-handed shot. Kopitz is a left-handed shot. Is Cogliano good at faceoffs? I don't think he was, right? 74 is alright. It's alright. Kopitz has a 77 now. But we could always go with this instead. And then Dingle on that fourth line is fine with Reefers and Hansen. Doughty, though, I don't want to scratch Doughty for sure. Doughty should definitely be on a third line role. This is where it's a little bit iffy to try and get McLeod to play forward. Because Dingle probably should be in the lineup this season. He is a depth forward. Maybe we send him back down for one more year. You know what? I think that's going to be the case with Dingle for now. But it could be different if you guys think it's okay to do that. Let's go back to the defensive core here for a second. Take McLeod out. And we'll throw Johnston in for the time being. We'll go back to here. We will move Doughty down to the fourth line. I don't want Doughty on the fourth line. He is a two-way forward, though. That might be okay, but we have to get him on the power play somehow. Dingle, like I said, we'll send him down to the AHL. Probably. And then we'll go back to defense here and get McLeod on as a forward. That doesn't work well on that top line. That doesn't work well on that top line still. Oh, boy. McLeod, Cashman, Dunham does not work whatsoever. Yeah, we're going to have to look at the coaching staff, maybe rework this a bit. Let's just optimize the lines without caring about chemistry for the time being. And then we could definitely look at the coaching staff again and see if this is what we want to run with for sure or not. So we'll go with Bell and Hunwick. We'll go with Hunwick on the offside because he scores a lot of goals. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's probably what we'd run with. I don't really want to use Dingle as a depth forward. Wall as a depth forward is probably okay. He might complain now. There's not really anybody else though that I would call up basically from the AHL uses depth options unless I was to bring in like Dallas Corrado, who is 27, so he's not going to get much better. We could use him as a depth option. We could use Jay Newberry maybe as a depth option, but tough to say. I definitely should look and see if there's any former players still in free agency or not, but Enroth is down to a 74. Is he listed as a depth option or no? No, he's not. Let's get Vasiliev on that top line since we just drafted him. Hartman has elite potential, right? Yeah, he does. So we'll move Hartman up to the top line. Let's see, defensively looking okay. Let's try and get rid of that minus. Maybe? Maybe not. Doesn't really matter. Goalies look fine. Yeah, I think the AHL team looks fine, but I do feel like we need maybe some other depth options in the NHL. So that way I could send Dingle down. And maybe even send Wall down, because I don't know if I really want to have them scratched. But I do need to see the chemistry for a second here in terms of the coaches, because I feel like this coach is not actually going to work well for us this season because it just doesn't look great. Let's see. Belis, what were you a fit like? 62. Yeah, that's dropped off a lot, I feel like. Let's demote him for a second here. Hromis, who we just signed, is only a B coach, so we probably don't want to use him. 66, but he is better. And then Krejci, who has been our other coach for a while, he is at 63. So Krejci technically is a better fit as a head coach. So Belis as an assistant, or not assistant, as an associate. Actually, no, as an assistant might be the better play. We could always look for a different coach at some point, but I don't think there's much coaching options out there that are super good. Let's take a look at these guys for a sec. 58. 64 is not bad, but yeah, I think we honestly might have to just run with these coaches. And we'll see how Krejci fits our team in terms of chemistry, but I feel like our chemistry is not going to be as good this season as it has been in the past. Okay, offensively, at least that fixes the top line if we go with this coach, so that's at least better. We could always try and move McLeod to second line, which doesn't do much. I don't know about having both grinders on the same line. But the chemistry is not negative there, so it might be okay. From a defensive standpoint, The chemistry doesn't really work with this coach that well, which is kind of weird. So we might have to rock a -3 on that third pairing. We might have to. I don't think there's really much else I could do. That looks even worse. And then Johnston going up makes that even worse. So yeah, I think we might have to rock the -3 if we want to use this coach. We don't really have the best coaching options. Power play, what about that? Because it's either a -1 on the top line or it's a -3 on that top 6 pairing. So I'm not too sure. The power play doesn't have great chemistry either. I don't know why Johnston's on this power play. Oh, it's probably because of the McLeod spot. So let's get McLeod back in there. That looks better a bit. Second unit, Hunwick, Kopitz, Robertson, Hansen, Cashman. We probably should have Cogliano on a power play, to be honest, even though he's a grinder too. But, yeah, probably should have Cogliano on a power play. Just because he's a higher overall player. So let's get him in there. -2. That's not ideal, but it's okay, I guess. I don't really know. And then, obviously, we're going to go back to here again. We are going to put McLeod on this unit. -1 only, and then Hunwick's already on that one. That looks fine. Penalty kill has some okay chemistry already, so that's not going to be something we need to really address. All right. So I don't really know if I like the chemistry fully with this coach. It is good offensively by comparison to the other coach, but that top 6 pairing kind of a little bit worrisome. But it is better in terms of the top line. Because if we went back to our original head coach, this line would be a -1. And we'd probably move McLeod back to defense, potentially, if we use that coach. Which means we'd probably have to take one of these guys out of the lineup. Aside from that, I think that's pretty much it. Like, the depth options, like I said, I don't know if I want to have Wall and Dingle's depth options. So that's one thing I'm a little bit worried on, too. Because those guys maybe should be in our lineup, hypothetically, but there's not really much we could do about it. Is there any former players still in free agency, though? Because maybe we could bring in some former depth options, send those guys down so they're not complaining. Just got to double check here. I don't know who I'm looking for out of curiosity, but I just want to see if there's any former guys that could still help us out a bit here with this little bit of a problem. Sagan's a depth defenseman. Don't need another. We could actually use another depth defenseman over. That might not be a bad idea. Is bringing Dwayne Sagan back up here. He was in Iowa last season as well. Just kind of funny. Colorado the year before. Never played in the NHL still at this point. Huh. Actually, no, he has played 7 games with us back a couple years ago. I don't know. He would definitely be a better depth defender to have than Seagal, so we could still bring him in if you guys want. And then for depth forwards, is there anybody that used to play with us? Or are they all gone? Because I literally haven't seen any of them so far. And we'll take a look at our former players signed as well, and then we'll end this episode probably around that point. Don't still see anybody. If you guys remember any depth forwards names that used to play with us that maybe I'm just overpassing, please let me know, because I honestly don't see anybody. And I think that's an area that I would bring in some more ex-players with. But we could always just call up a 76 overall guy from the AHL that's 27. Just because he's not going to get much better anyways. Alright, so yeah, I don't think I saw anybody. But I hope that there was somebody there. Alright, so final things. Let's take a look at where our former players signed, and then that'll be it for this episode. So if we go to the player search function, we need to look for Mathers, and we need to look for Comrie. Because those are the big ones we let go of this offseason. There might have been some other player too, but I can't remember. Mathers, where did he sign? He signed with the Detroit Red Wings as an AHL goaltender. Damn. So he's not even going to be getting a chance as a backup next season like he was with us. But he signed with Detroit. 2 years at 1.7, so maybe he gets called up before the start of the season. But he could end up being a third-string goaltender for them as well. So shout out to Reed Mathers. Let's take a look at his number in Detroit, number 30 as well. All right. And where did Comrie sign in? Did Comrie get overpaid? Probably. Comrie's probably like the next one of these guys on our roster that went on to make a shit ton of money. Like Doig or something like that. So let's see. Comrie, did he get a clause as well and all that? He signed with the Anaheim Ducks. So he literally just signed with the cup-winning team. The team that we lost against. So that's kind of a bit of a slap to the face, so to speak. But he does not have a clause. Kind of surprised on that. And he's getting $17 million. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. Well, Comrie wanted only $11 million from us, but he ends up taking a contract with no clause, but he's getting paid almost $20 million for the next 6 years. So shout out to Comrie for cashing out. But yeah, there's no way I would give him $17 million for a 50, 60-point season. Now, he could end up going on to win a Stanley Cup with the team that just won the Cup last season, but at the same time, that's just a bit of a worrisome contract that the Ducks gave out. So, anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Albuquerque Aliens Draft the Glory franchise mode. So, in next episode, we'll simulate through the 2046-47 season. We'll see if this team makes it back to the postseason. I think we definitely can, but the chemistry may be a little bit worrisome. But I think we could definitely make it just barely in. And then maybe that gives us a higher chance to win the Stanley Cup because maybe we could be kind of like a cheese team. So, I think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.